hungry and began to pick some ears of corn and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful of the Sabbath." He answered, "Haven't you read that David that no, have you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the considered bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priests. Or haven't you read in the law that the priests of Sabbath duty in the temple desecrate the Sabbath and yet are innocent? I tell you that sometimes something greater than the temple is here. When you had known what these words mean, I deserve mercy, not sacrifice. You will not condemn the innocent, for the Son of Man is Lord of Sabbath. Going on that place, he went into their synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there looking for a reason not to bring charges against Jesus. They asked him, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "If anyone you have a sheep and it falls into a pit of Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and fill it out? How much more valuable is a person than a sheep? Therefore, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, just as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. Jesus' servant. Aware of this, Jesus went out from that place. A large crowd followed him, and he healed all who were ill. He warned them not to tell others about him. This was fulfilled what spoken through the prophet Isaiah. "Here is my servant who I've chosen, the one I love, in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nation. He will not quarrel or cry out. No one will hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed will not beat, as a smoldering wick he will not snuff out, until he has brought justice throughout to victory. In his name, the nations will put their hope." Mm-hmm. Jesus and Beelzebul. Then he brought a demon-possessed man who was blind and mute, and Jesus healed him. So he could both talk and see. All the people were astonished and said, "Could this be the son of David?" But when the prophets heard this, they said, "It is only the Beelzebul, the prince of demons, that this fellow drives out demons." Mm-hmm. Jesus knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself will be ruined. Every city or household divided against itself will not stand. Mm. If Satan drives out Satan, mm-hmm, he is divided against himself. How then can his kingdom stand? And if you drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom will your people drive out? So then they will be your judge. But if it is by the Spirit of God that I drive out demons, then the kingdom of God has come upon you." Or again, how can anyone enter a strong man's house and carry of his possessions unless he first ties up the strong man? then he can plunder his house. Whoever is not with me is against me. Whoever does not gather with me scatters.
There you
And so I tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, neither in this age or the age to come. Make a tree good, and its fruit will be good, or make a tree bad, and its fruit will be bad. For a tree is recognized by its fruit. You're brood of vipers. How can you who are evil say anything good? For the mouth speaks for the heart full. A good man brings good things out of the good stored in him, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored in him. But I tell you that everyone will have to give account on the day of judgment for every empty word has been spoken. For by your words you will be accounted, and by your words you will be condemned. The sign of Joanne. Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you." He answered, "A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given, except for the sign of prophet John. For as John was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the hearts of earth. The man of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with the generation and condemn it, for they will pretend that at the preaching of John, and now something greater than John is here. The queen of the south will be raised at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she comes to an end on earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now something greater than Solomon is here. When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, "I will return the house I left when it arrives. It finds the house uncorrupted, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes its 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with the wicked generation." Jesus' mothers and brothers. While Jesus was still talking to the crowd, his mother and brothers stood outside wanting to speak to him. Someone told him, "Your mother and brother are standing outside wanting to speak to you." He replied to him, "Who is my mother, and who is my mother?" Pointing to his disciples, he said, "There are my mother and my brothers. For whomever does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother."
Okay, good job.